In this video, I'm giving you my top tips on how to make an engaging event film. So let's get into it. Now, before I get into my top tips, let me first just clarify what I mean by an event film. An event film is basically you going to an event and you're basically filming what's happening in front of you and making a montage-based video on what's happened. So one example of this could be a restaurant holds a 80s themed night every single Thursday, and they want you to capture the night to make a promo video to bring in more customers to that 80s themed night every Thursday. Another example of this could be a music festival, there could be a party, a club. You're basically capturing a specific event and you're capturing the atmosphere of that night on video, and then that's going out to social media to advertise that event. So my first tip is to write out a list of everything that you need to capture on the day of filming. Let's say you're filming a music festival, for example. You're going to write out a list of all of the acts that you need to capture on stage. You're going to write out a list of what shots of the audience you need. Maybe you need some shots of the food stalls around, maybe an establishing shot. Just write out a thorough plan and a thorough list of everything that you need to capture on the day in order to create the film that you need to deliver to the client. This is really important because you only get one shot at this. You're not controlling the shoot. You can't control the lighting or what's happening in front of you. You just basically have to see what's happening and capture it. And this means things can often go wrong. You can miss a specific thing, and this can be really damaging in the edit when the client asks for a shot of the food stalls, for example, and you forgot to capture it. You can't go back and recreate that moment because it's gone. The event's happened, it's finished, it's moved on. So it's really important that you have this list of everything that you need to capture, and make sure you go through and tick everything off on the list going through the event. Of course though, this brings me on to tip 2, and that is not to just depend on that list. Yes, you want to capture everything on the list, but don't only capture everything on that list. Feel free to experiment and capture anything that might happen spontaneously in front of you. So you're at this music festival, for example, and you've got this list, you've got the stage shots, you've got the audience shots, you've got a few other things that you need to capture. And then all of a sudden there's these 3 guys, they get up, they're wearing funny costumes and they start doing this ridiculous dance. What do? Do you film it, or do you not film it because it's not on your list? You want to film that because that could be a really awesome and playful moment for the video. So yes, it's important that you capture everything on your list, but don't neglect anything else that's happening. If you see a moment and you think it can work, film it and see if you can make it work in the edit. Now, my third tip is to try and be as invisible as possible where you need to. Of course, there will be times when you need to ask somebody to move, or you need to do something to get the shot that you need. But the thing is, with these event films, you're going to have a lot of people in front of you that aren't camera trained. You're going to have a lot of people that don't like being in front of the camera. So if you've got your massive camera right in front of their face, they're going to be really uncomfortable. They're going to look unnatural, and that's going to look stale in the edit. So it's really important that you try to be as invisible as possible. Of course, you've got your list. You need to capture all of these different moments. That's your job. But swoop in, grab the shot, and once you've got the shot, swoop back out again. You don't want to be hanging in anyone's face for too long because, again, they're going to get uncomfortable. So tip number 3 is be invisible where possible. And tip number 4 is to capture the atmosphere. And what I mean by this is capture the soul of the event. So let's say you're filming a Great Gatsby themed party, for example. You really want to pay close attention to what people are wearing. You want to pay close attention to the sounds that you're hearing. Pay close attention to all of these details. Capture everything that you need to capture in order to sell that feeling, and then use that in the edit to recreate the feeling of the event. So let's say there's this specific drum beat that keeps going on throughout the entire night. You're going to want to try and recreate that in the edit because you're going to recreate that feeling of being there on the event in your edit. This is one thing that people sometimes get wrong in an event film, and it really throws the whole event film off and doesn't feel right. And that's because you haven't captured the soul of the event. You really want to capture that feeling, that atmosphere, soak up the sounds, the energy, really scoop up the energy of that event and throw that into your edit and recreate that feeling of the event in your edit. Of course, there's many different ways of capturing the atmosphere of the event in your edit. You can pay close attention to your sound and the music that you're using. You can pay close attention to the way that you're editing the footage. So let's say you were filming a video for a club and they had upbeat dance music, you could have fast cuts in the edit because that's going to recreate the same energetic feeling in the edit as the night itself. There's loads of different things that you can pay close attention to, but tip number 4 is to grab the energy, grab the atmosphere of the night and recreate that in the edit. Now, tip number 5 is to keep your videos nice and short. You don't want really long 5-minute videos because nobody is going to watch that. Your videos are being shared on social media, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, on TikTok, on wherever you can think it's being shared. And the attention span from people on social media is getting shorter and shorter and shorter. So if you have a 5-minute long video, people are going to click away after 2 seconds because they got bored. So you want to put all of your best footage up front at the very beginning. You really want to grab the viewer, you want to grab their attention, suck them into this video and make sure they don't swipe away to the next post on their timeline. So keep your videos to under 60 seconds, but the shorter, the better. And you want to put all of your best content up front to really draw people in and watch the rest of that video. And then once you've grabbed that viewer, you've grabbed their attention and you've shown them a few really interesting, amazing shots, you've sold them on the event, you need to very quickly give them the website and the event details and the place where they need to go to get tickets for that event. So tip number 5 is to keep your edits short, put the interesting footage up front and give them the details as quick as possible. And there you go. As long as you followed these 5 tips, you're going to create a really awesome and powerful event film. So thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate your support and I will see you on the next video. See you there.